Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 263B of Tales with TR. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr., excited to welcome my good buddy, exact same age, second round pick, 1995 NHL entry draft, Memorial Cup winner with the Hull Olympics, longtime NHLer, longtime professional hockey player, sometime NHLer, 56 goal scorer in the American Hockey League, and now father of the latest first round pick to the Newfoundland Regiment of the QMJHL. Donald Maclean, how the hell are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good there. That was one introduction. Appreciate that. Good to see you again.
Well, always, I tell people we go way back to minor baseball, minor hockey, and it seems as if our lives they intertwine. It's one thing to be from Atlantic Canada, both get drafted same year, and then in such an odd circumstance, I don't know why. Do you remember why in the American Hockey League in 97, 98, I'm drafted to Montreal, you're drafted to the LA Kings. We were very much on each other's radar, always. And we end up playing on the same minor league team. Why did LA agree to send a bunch of you guys to Fredericton that year?
I can't say the exact reason, but my hunch back then, they really weren't too concerned with American League because the running joke back then was if we didn't make it in training camp, we were getting in there. So that year, I think that first year was Fredericton. Then the next year was they share with the Islanders. The second year was to share with Phoenix and Springfield, and the third year they share with the New York Islanders and Low Log Monsters.
Wow, so that literally was the mantra was, you know what, if they're down there anyway, it's all good. We'll kind of pay attention, but it's not a big deal.
No, it was that was like amongst the guys, like it's like it was a joke. If you didn't start, you weren't getting there.
22 games, 5 snipes though, right off the hop. And I mean, as 20-year-old, you're right out of junior. I think you scored those right off the bat. Who are you playing with in the NHL?
Well, it's funny just telling old stories to Fen, kind of the old stuff like that. And so training camp. Well, that year I rolled in. They were like, I think Dave Taylor was a GM at the time. You're get a couple exhibition games, go down to the American League. And it was weird. It was one of those things. The mindset was, and I was small as it was. When you go to training camp and you see numbers like 74, but then the guy you're competing against has like number 19. You figure if you have that number 74, you're not sticking around too much.
Yeah.
But I had the number 50, and I just put my nose to the grindstone, and I just played hard that training camp, and I made it. And I was playing with starting off with Luc Robitaille and Glenn Murray.
Really?
Getting some good minutes.
Luc Robitaille. That's that's one of our, I don't know if you want to say heroes, but someone that we would have really looked forward or looked up to at the time.
You were impressed with him? You know, a little quick one. You always impressed me. I should say impressed. He could score. It was unbelievable. He could score. But I couldn't believe it. Most goal scorers, when they tape their stick, they're very prim and proper. It's got to be just pretty.
Yeah.
I believe he's the high that has the most goals for a left winger in the NHL history.
I think
so.
And
literally, I couldn't believe he just grabbed the tape and go shh, and just put a stick down.
Didn't
he missed his spots. He just want to get tape on there. I was in awe. I think little thing like that.
I was somewhere in the middle. Some people are really finicky. For you, I don't know if you were finicky, but I remember your fucking paddle on your stick was like Draisaitl-ish. A huge fucking twig. Was that something from minor hockey, or did that just happen when you got customs in pro?
No, well, I think when I saw you, I was still using one pieces. So I was still using wood sticks. And minor hockey, I grew up with the. I didn't look at the stick. It was back then, what it was like. We didn't have such thing as flex back then. But I always wanted a big curve. Like at some point, you could probably fit a toonie under my curve.
Oh yeah.
And then what I laugh at is back in the day, I don't think anybody used the big curve, but back then it was a legal curve. No, it was I used massive curve the whole time, and then once I saw Bobby House, I had to get a legal curve, and that's when I switched over to like a wedge, like a football, like a golf club. But I had to have a curve.
That's wild, though. Yeah, you used to get that. That was like it didn't take you much to get it off your stick. And speaking of, it's so Fenwick, your kid, This is wild because again, a couple of years ago, I came up to there to do like a speech or something, and he was like 12 or 30. It just reminds me how quick it happens. Like that just seemed to boom. Now it's Major Junior. Like we're talking about, he was still watching cartoons 4 years ago, and you know how fucking quick it is. So anyway, did you have any idea he was going to the regiment?
It's funny. I got going through it as the player, but then as a parent, and you read, they do all these Zoom calls and talking, and they're seeing all these nice stuff, different teams. I had a hunch. I won't lie to you. I had a hunch because I know Gordon Dwyer, as his youngest, was a year behind Fed, and they'd see him every second year, and he's crossed paths and the way that the team spoke. But I didn't know. No, I didn't know for certain. There's no conversation outside, but I had a hunch because it was number 4, 5, 5, 6. I figured Vitch was going for sure. The Newfoundlanders,
Yeah.
and then who up between? There's I can't remember number 7. Oh, Charlottetown. I wasn't at a hunch, but you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, I
And
guess.
then it's funny, like the behind the scenes kind of thing. You can see the agents move around in the stands, moving next to players. And I had a hunch once the regiment came up that it'll probably happen. But it's a small world for a couple reasons. Obviously, us and everything, and having played there, but twofold. Actually, I played for Laval, which Laval went to Bathurst, then Bathurst went to St. John's. Plus, obviously, you and I played together in St. John's, the American League. So it's like it's
And Gordy being our fucking teammate that year.
yeah. Well, I actually did even smaller world in junior. I got traded. Gordon and I got traded for each other.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, that's wild.
It is. It's the funny connections all around.
It really is. And so, like, you'll probably be humble about it, but when you were 10, 11, 12, you were one of the better players in Nova Scotia. I was in Newfoundland. We would run into each other. Yeah, it wouldn't really have surprised me back then if someone said that you and I were going to play some level of professional hockey. Was Fenwick like that, or did he turn it on when he was 15?
He was minor hockey wise, or the 09. He's an 09, so that age group. He was always there. Like he wasn't like I wouldn't say the younger age he was dominant as say you or I. I would say yes after first year major ban. So
Okay.
he's probably 14. Last 2 years, really, last 2 years, just something clicked. I don't know what it is. It all came together, and he just took 2 massive strides in the last 2 years.
Were you coaching him?
No, I coached 1 year with them in my old alumni, my old alma mater minor hockey club, hockey organization. They boxed me out, so I was unable to coach him, which was probably actually a blessing to not have to not coach him every year to get different voice.
Hey, listen, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
As I don't want to forget, and each time I see you or I talk to you, I forget.
So,
when we were playing, I mean, that year, I think it was the year you won. I can just look it up, but I guess it's irrelevant whether you won or not. You played with a guy, I think, that year, Pavel Rosa. Rosa had like 140, 150 points.
Yep.
So, and didn't he get drafted in our draft? And if he had so many points, like that's a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember him being a huge prospect. If it's behind the scenes, I don't want to know. You don't have to say it on there. I'm not trying to get a quote. There's players like that. I'm going, whoa, like, wouldn't he have gotten a better shot, or was it just power play points, or point me in the right direction?
Well, short answer, I don't know behind the scenes story or whatnot, but if I had to give my version now, you ever come across, well, you've seen it probably, there are just some really good junior hockey players.
Yeah.
Some really good. And he did get some time up there. I think he probably has, I don't know his stats. He may have more games than I did in the American League, but he was Czech, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He didn't stick around the American League, but in junior, there was him, Martin Menard, who was a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And Peter Royal. and he shot from the bench. He shot from behind the net. He shot from the blue line.
Oh yeah.
Like he just shot. And Martin Menard, they just buzzed around. Like they were a good line. Like Peter Worrell, well, you remember his style of game. He had 44 goals, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he literally he literally was that big guy that went to the net. And then I played with Christian Dubé and Jonathan DeLille and myself. We were different. Weren't as offensive, but we were the two lines there in the year we won the cup. But it
Johnny
was
DeLille, yeah, our good buddy Johnny DeLille. Johnny got his rest in peace, passed away
yeah.
now many years, but got his NHL game because I got called up and my wisdom teeth came in. I'm not saying because Jesus, he could have played 3 years, wouldn't have surprised me. Johnny was the epitome of a two-way forward that, there's just I don't remember him ever playing poorly. I don't remember him really standing out and
No,
getting hat every night. But I love
like
Johnny. I don't want to say the only, but I'm saying I was called up. My wisdom teeth came in, and Johnny came up and got his NHL game. So I'm
hey,
happy.
there's no. I'm sure it's not. I hear what you're saying, but I'm sure there are stories like that where people make careers out of
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But no, I miss Johnny. Like he's like when you go through Quebec League, you get your French and English. But I played with him online for 3 years. Like
yeah,
my 19-year-old year, my 18-year-old year in Hull, I got traded. My 20-year-old year, I played with him, and then we all met together again in Perkin.
yeah. In Freddie,
And
you're right.
I felt it like we weren't the best of buds. Like we didn't have but we for 3 years we're on the same team, and he was a good dude. And I bumped into Serge Haché, he's still the trainer in Gatineau from back when we were there in '97 draft. And we talked about Johnny and how good dude he was, and we miss him, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, well said. Peter Worrell. People forget like the era that we played that there were some real tough players that like got drafted high that could fight like a lot.
Yeah,
Peter Worrell. Now, if he never fought, still would have been a good fucking junior, and I think he was a decent checker in the NHL. I didn't watch him enough. 62 games that year. Okay, the year you end up day one, you guys win the Mem Cup. 62 games, 63 points. 495 minutes. He's 6'7", 240. 495 minutes. Was he just fighting every game?
well, it was funny. Like that year, like the year before, like we hosted the cup that year. The year before, when Granby won it with Michel Tarrant coaching, and I think they're in Peterborough, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
Every game, George Rock played for Granby. Peter played for Hull. Every game,
Every game.
they fought each other. Every time we played against
Wow.
each other.
Two
And,
two just big tough
oh,
guys
which was
going at it.
actually, that year one of those. Sometimes fights happen, and then sometimes you grab each other and you fall down. Well, one
Yeah.
time we were playing my first fight ever. Peter and Laraco to go out, but they kind of just wrestled more than anything. And one of the guys in the stand around watching started slapping me in the face a little bit, giving me face rubs. And anyways, first time that a fight, and then I couldn't believe getting in the box. You know better than I do. The adrenaline goes rushing, and then it wears off. You go to get in the box, and I came playing my first time ever having that experience. And I got another player waiting for me to fight when I get in the box.
Oh, come on.
And then
Boy.
and then another, rest his soul, Russell Smith. He's not here
Oh,
today.
yeah.
He was on the team, and he jumped right in. He knew I didn't want to fight. He jumped in and helped me out. So it was but yes, Peter, they fought quite a bit. And behind the scenes, the argument was because Colin White was on our team.
Oh, yeah.
They argue who the toughest guy was because, well, they obviously didn't fight each other.
Wow. I didn't know all that. I mean, and I starting with Little Rock. Well, I could have assumed once in a while they drop the mitts,
No,
but
no,
I
it
didn't
was,
know
it was
ritualistic. That
yeah, it
must
was
have been
pretty much.
something to see. Listen. Speaking of fucking penalty minutes, is this a misprint or so you're playing the year before you go to the Q? So you would have been grade 11, I suppose, playing midget hockey.
Yeah.
25 games, 70 points. I believe that 151 minutes. What were you slashing people over the head?
What do you mean, Terry? Come on, I was dropping the gloves everywhere.
That's a lot of 25 games played. That's like 1,000. No, it's like 500 though if you played the full year. What? Or I guess it is a full year of midget, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, back
What?
then it was only 20 game schedule back then. I missed a couple games. I don't remember getting any penalties, so I'm assuming if you look amongst my career, those penalty minutes per game don't add up.
25 game. I'm looking at this is eliteprospect.com. 25 games played, 35 and 35. Some nice clean stats in midget. 151 PIMs. You look like an absolute terror.
Well, I think people thought that when I had a missing tooth by the time in the American League and a beard, long hair, and teeth, no tooth. I think people thought I was.
Maybe that's why that first fight happened in the first place, and people wanted to fight you coming out of the box. They just looked at the stats.
No, it's great. But it's funny. My son now is going through my stats, and he's got a better mix of points and PIMs, and he's looking forward to have his first fight.
Are you been over? Well, it'll happen now. Are you?
Well, camps in Ferguson first. He goes to the Canada Games, I believe, in St. John's in the fall. Right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
camps in Ferguson. Starts in Ferguson, and then thinks it shifts to Charlottetown, and then we'll see how he does at camp and go from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Go from there. But I hope you get over a few times anyway.
Oh, geez, man, I've always wanted an excuse to go back. That I gotta say, like St. John's changed my career.
This is like 263B and 263A. So just a little bit ago, I do 2 a week.
Yeah,
I was talking about this. I alluded to it a little bit, but it really did. And I remember you coming in because of what I said earlier. Most people listen to one, listen to the other, but those who don't. Daddy Mac came into Freddie, like split teams. I played more than you did. For whatever reason, your stats weren't great until you came over to St. John's, and then boom, it was like immediate. It was immediate. It was from the first shift you stepped on the ice. I remember it. 26 or 27 points in the final 20 games, and then went on to get 70 and 80 and eventually 56 for Grand Rapids and more NHL games. Hey, we don't all play 1,000, right? What was it about that changed it so rapidly? Was it ice time?
If I had to, geez, I'd take another beer to break it down, a therapy to break it all back. But short form, I really look back on it. LA had zero farm system and zero give a shit. It was just you get drafted and fucking figure it by yourself. And
which is amazing, given that you were there immediately and had those goals. You'd figure they'd work with you. Someone has, and your fifth goal wasn't in your 22nd game. I don't remember. I remember watching a lot. I think you had like 5 and like 12 or something.
I know. I had 5 and 5. If I actually look at the thing, when I get a couple of things, because this is what I don't. Well, I got caught up in business, so I was making way back then. I went from $50 every 2 weeks in junior to all of a sudden now after the cup, I'm making, and now today's term, whatever. But for me, it was 15 grand every 2 weeks US.
Oh yeah.
And I led the team in points of preseason, so which got me the start. But I think it was 350 or 400. I can't remember exactly what it was back then, my NHL salary, or 42.5 Canadian in the American League.
Yeah.
And so I started that. And Vladimir Siplikov was on a one-way back then, and I was only on a two-way, but I made it. So the first road trip we go on the road, I'm playing Ben Murray, Luke Robitaille, power play minutes, probably about 19 minutes a game. Pretty good opportunities. We've got a point a game the first road trip. And then come back home. And then all of a sudden, there must have been a business decision. All of a sudden, my ice time changes and I'm in and out. Vladimir Siplikov, obviously he's on a one-way. I'm not. And then my minutes go from playing with those guys to fourth line with Matt Johnson, Ian Lapierre, and about 4 minutes a game. And then after a while, and I don't say that comment, they played more NHL games than I did, but just that's not my point of that comment. It's just
no, I know.
And then again, all of a sudden the minutes and the time, and then after a while, like, well, you're not scoring. And I'm like, well, you get me a stick from the bench that I can score from, and I'll get you some goals. Like, and then all of a sudden you're in and out of the lineup, and then before you know it, I remember it was early June. I'm still waiting for the phone call, being on the plane, coming home from some road trip, and Larry Robinson comes back and just says, hey, we're just going to send you down, get some time, and we'll give you a call right back. Well, I'm 48. That was when I was 21. So
I wonder if he's going to call you back.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe he'll call my son if he's still hanging around.
Well, what I don't get, so that it's like innocuous. I get it. I wish you'd gotten more ice time, but you didn't. But what I don't get, because like with those decisions up there, whatever, sure that had something to do with the fact I kept getting sent down. I mean, really, and it makes sense looking back. I don't even know why I was so upset. It's part of, you earned that one way, and I really did think I should have been there ahead of some guys, but that happened. What I'm saying is that I get that. What I don't get is why they would send you down. Like, they know that they weren't playing you as much. You started well, so you're an NHLer. You're in their system. I mean, it's hard to get NHLers that can prove something, and they know they had it. And then it's just weird to send you down and not pay any attention
Well, they didn't care. They didn't.
to the minors.
They go back. But to go back to my comment earlier, like they like I was on the same team as Colin White with New Jersey, but New Jersey back then had a system. No matter how good of a player you were, you went through Albany, and they would bring you in the summers and do different training things. And they had a development model back then. Like New Jersey was really ahead of their time, considering when we look back as far as development.
Yeah.
LA didn't give a rat's ass, in my opinion. They were like a free agent type of team because I was up there, fine. And then the problem was how the battle went down the American League. And I look back on it, you have to appreciate something to kind of keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
I worked my ass off to make the NHL, but then I shouldn't have. In hindsight, it would have been better off when we went to the American League. I went too high. It's like starting off in a Maserati, and then I settled for friggin' a Honda or something like that. Like,
yeah, I know what you
too much
mean.
too early.
I mean, I don't from experience, but I can see what you mean.
And the other thing too, now I wasn't a Crosby or a Bedard, where the common thread nowadays where they live with this they live with somebody when they first come as an 18-year-old. Like, imagine this. Okay, now this is a funny story. This is but these are real life things. I go and live with a family in Hull at 20. I finished that year 20, my 19-year-old year. To the next fall, I'm in the hotel because they're allowed to keep in the hotel for 30 days. And after that, they let you send you down or take it a place. And then all of a sudden they say, hey, go get a place. Excuse my fucking language. I've always had somebody do my laundry. I've lived with somebody. All of a sudden, in LA, no cell phones, nothing, no one to help, and go find an apartment, furnish it, get a car, and all of a sudden now you're an adult.
I know.
And you go from Hull to fucking like 14 lanes of ram traffic.
Oh yeah,
and you got these maps in LA. Back then, GPS telling you turn left here.
And Bedford before that. Not that Bedford's a bad, but I'm just saying it's not LA.
Well, that's what I mean. And like you're driving, you ever laugh at yourself? Like the technology, like going through a big city. Now you just press this and you listen to it. Imagine driving and you got to find these little lines on a map. Well, you got 14 lanes of traffic going on.
No idea. Just thrown right to the wolves. And then worried about the game that night and the practice that day or whatever.
I didn't know. I'm 20 years old. Never done this before. Now I'm going to live in LA.
Just driving around LA. Yeah, you're right. And before the cell phone, you were on your own. When you leave practice that day, like, hopefully I got a phone line. If not, maybe I'll see you tonight at the Salvio's. If not, I won't run into you.
Well, that's it. That was back in 98, 99. Like, no cell internet probably was out there, but I didn't have a computer back then.
No,
exactly.
None of us,
now in LA too.
Like, it was around, man. People were emailing. I go, like, we weren't at it for years. We didn't give a fuck about it. Like, it was on the go, but we just didn't use it.
No, and then like I think it was early December. It was weird. I've always had winter. I remember walking home from the pub and a little wobbly, shorts and a t-shirt on the beach. And I said, like, it was like a moment to myself, like, holy shit, like, what the fuck, dude? You're 21, 3 seats in the wind. You finally feel your first pair of fake tits out there on a fucking beach, and you're like, I'm playing hockey, and it's fucking warm out.
Yeah, and you were 20, not 21.
I made
the same birthday. By the time you were 21, you were in Freddie with me.
Exactly. So I've been 20. So that's a lot. That's a lot for a kid from Bedford.
Yeah.
Bedford. All of a sudden, here, throw me a set of keys and go fucking figure your life out in LA by yourself.
In
Yeah.
LA. Oh,
Like, come
it's
on. It's not like
turn
it's
enough if you're in
Montreal or
Nebraska.
Toronto. Like, Jesus, it was just too much too fast. And just, you can't blame anybody else, but a little direction or being taken
Well,
under a wing would have been nice.
you know what's funny? So when I was 19, so ish, same, and I'm up in Montreal for most of the year, but even though Montreal is like crazy and it's like, oh my God, the Canadians, but there's Newfoundlanders in and out of there. Jeremy Charles was living there, right? Like you walk down to the pub and like it just is, it doesn't seem as far out as you would have. LA, I would have thought would be a different planet. People from Red Deer, I played junior. There's been Newfoundlanders coming up. Like it's interchangeable. It was a bit of a hub. Montreal to me just felt like an extension of where I already started. But for you, oh man.
No, and then I'll never forget, like, you know what it's like I get a laugh, like, you're adjusting. And, like, I literally played hockey for fun. Like, I did, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't prepped. I wasn't Crosby, didn't have an agent or people, you know, teach me along the way. Like you. My dad did the XRCMP, my mom, XT, like, they did the best they could, but they didn't know the other side. And it's like, you're going through that. And
Yeah,
I'll never
exactly.
forget, it's funny, but it's not. But you appreciate this one. Early on once the season started, you're doing drills, you're battling like that, and like practice for me was like playing a playoff game. Like I was on like flying. I'll never forget one day. Remember Sean O'Donnell, top defenseman.
Yeah.
We're doing a
Yeah.
drill, and I can't remember exactly what. And I was maybe I think I was 200 pounds, whatever it is. Either way, we're doing a drill doing a one-on-one drill, and you know how every now and then you do a one-on-one and you just make them unbelievable moves. It's like it's highlight reel. Well, I just toe dragged this, that, went in and backhand shelved it. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm this young guy going 100 miles an hour. I didn't even get to the corner to get back in line. My feet weren't even touching the ice. His hands were around my neck. It was literally going, don't you ever fucking do that again.
You know what? That would seem absurd to a lot of people today. It would.
But
That shit happened.
it did, but I mean, like, it's real. I get it. But it's like, I'm just shit nickels. And I'm like, I was no slouch. Like, I wasn't tiny, but like, my feet weren't even touching the fucking ground. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I mean, I didn't figure shit on my own. Like, I was like, literally,
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
blame
That,
anybody.
that was a
I don't
hard
blame
road.
anybody, but it was a lot. It was a lot when I look back on it.
Speaking of, do you know, does Fenwick have billets already set?
No, there hasn't been, I'm sure
Not
they're
that I don't
taking,
want to count chickens. I don't want to count chickens, but even I don't want to get ahead of myself. He's got a lot of work to do. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times you would start having an idea, who the billets are going to end up being for
uh,
players that are probably going to be here at some point in the next
well,
near
I
future.
think, I think I was talking because I was talking to Glenn Stanford.
Yeah,
He was there when we were there. He's the president.
yeah, he was. Yeah.
And I think he said the mom's name, they might stay with, I think her name was Gail.
Oh
Gail,
God.
Gail
Oh,
Senior.
can you imagine? Oh, imagine Senior taking him down in that basement. Oh, geez.
I'm glad you even said that because I was going to request, like, seriously, you talk when time goes by fast. I said, if it's possible, I was going to ask, like, we got to get Ben down in the basement.
We have to do that.
He needs that.
Senior will
I'll
want to.
never
Senior's
forget.
pumped, by the way.
Oh, I can't wait to get over there. I was actually selfishly, I was like, I can't. I've been wanting to go back to St. John's, but I'll never forget the first time being in the basement. I'll never forget it. Gotta love Senior. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go all of the whole story, but just the intro. We're down there having pops, do whatever. And I just got to love the way your seniors, get upstairs. Boys time. Just fucking.
Okay, Gail. We love you too, but get upstairs now. It's the boys are here. Boys are here.
But just imagine, it's like the next generation. Like they bring Fed over there, like Senior, just like, wow, like crazy.
Right. And the same, Daddy Matt, like the same. I went through, I played Senior for a long time till just a few years ago. Then I took some of the growlers when they came in, but outside of me playing with it, that was just a one-off fluke thing. But
Yep.
some of them came into town and they wanted to know about Sig. I didn't know him from Adam. I had friends of his on the team, But like the boys meet me, and the first thing I'm going, okay, sure enough, let's go in. So he's still older, but knock on wood here, but same wit, same attitude, same Friday. At Friday night, and generally people will drop in. Lots of time I'm not around, gone or
You
whatever.
could probably charge admission. They have seniors basement or however you want to do it. But it was good. But I'll never forget, like, seniors hilarious. Like, was it? I think back then the new meat market was Club Atomic. I think that opened.
That was it. Club Atomic. You got it.
Sundance. You want to get the older crowd. Then Atomic was the meat market. But I'll never forget what it'd be there. Well, I probably frequented that place or that the street a little more than I should have. But either way, but I remember standing there and senior give me the lessons. Back up against the wall, Daddy Mac. You know what it's all about? Running his hands on. It's like his vest. Where I was like, it's all about confidence, Daddy. It's all about confidence.
Oh yeah, he would go and he would give these old words of wisdom, the proverbs, when we were walking up and down the street. And you know what's funny? So Jody Temple, who owned the Penalty Box Cotton Club when you were here.
Penalty Box. That was we used to go have steak there a fair bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I remember correctly. You used to. I was wondering. I asked that. Actually, brought that up. You used to have a steak every single day, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That's I say to people. That's why
I think you did.
My doctor called me at one point there and gave me a heads up about my cholesterol, and I had to take pills. I was like, "What?" That was it, man. I say to people because I time it. Me and Penny Lane go once a month, maybe, to the keg. I don't eat much red meat other than that. And when people ask me, they think I'm doing it for some morality play, but I'm not. I'm like, no, I ate so much of that now I know what I'm fucking doing and how to control my cholesterol. I can't have a steak some days too. I would have steak and eggs in the morning.
Oh, you were down
there and have another steak.
You were mad. You must have paid that mortgage for the Penalty Box there for a while because I think you were there all the time. You had steak, but that's one thing though. The keg, I do like my keg, and I remember playing the American League when there was a keg in the city. Even to this day, I get the exact same meal every single time.
The baseball?
Every single time. No, I'm a 12. I'm a 12-ounce New York strip.
Are you okay? I'm the baseball.
Jumbo shrimp cocktail. Well, 2 tall drafts. Well, if I was playing the next day, only 2. But if it was, a few more. But 2 drafts.
Yeah.
Jumbo shrimp cocktail. Caesar salad. New York strip.
Your uncle, baby. That's perfect.
New York strip. The only thing I'd mix up is I felt like baked potato or baked twice. That'd be the only flip-flop, but it's the exact same thing every time. And it never fails.
Well, we'll be having it soon, my friend.
I hope so.
I'm going to. That's it. We're at 35 minutes. I got a bunch of shit to do. I'd love to talk to you more. I did promise a half hour. We're 5 over, but yeah, I'm hitting TO in a few days. Going to one Jays game, but going to do a couple of fundraisers, and then I'm over in Charlottetown, PEI, for Penny Lane's Atlantic Soccer Extravaganza.
When's that?
She starts on the 2nd of July, and I think the last games are on the 6th.
Oh, so that's coming up soon. Well, good luck to her. Good luck. What position?
She's a striker. She is to soccer what we were to hockey. She's a great young soccer player.
Oh,
didn't get into hockey. I just she wasn't into it when she was younger, and I didn't want to force her. And looking back, I think it was a little bit. But I just wanted her to play a team sport. That's it, Daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, girls are different.
She's happy. She's got good friends. She's getting an athlete. Sacrifice for the team, all that. I'm happy, and she's a great student. So I think it just keeps you on board with. You learn those team sacrifice and how to be a leader, and I'm sure you agree with me. It means a lot, right?
It does. No, and what I've got now, the Fenn's gone through it. Now I have a daughter's 13, and you know what? When it's all said and done, as long as kids are happy and they're doing what they love, they'll learn their lessons. They're supported by their parents. Sometimes they can use sports. The parent gets a little too involved, and just let the kid be sometimes and just enjoy the ride. And kids will amaze you with the right sport.
Couldn't have said it any better. Donald, Daddy Maclean, thank you, my friend. We'll see you real soon, one way or the other. And good luck to Fenwick, and hopefully we do see him soon in Seymour.
We will. We'll see him Mary Brown's Fried Chicken Place, which you can't believe. I'll say mile 1. But anyways, take care.
Yeah. There you have it. Ladies and gents, good friend and former National Hockey Leaguer Donald Daddy Mac McLean. Thank you, Daddy Mac. If you're downtown St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, you want to go to George Street, why not check out Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, or of course the Bull and Barrel. If you're going to have a bite to eat, why not do it at Loose Tie, Blue on Water, or Wedgwood Cafe? 2 locations, Mr. Lube right here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One's on Cameron Road, one's on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, lube. The Carpet Factory, laying the carpet for your community. Crown Cabinets, just because. Strength and balance for the body and mind can be found at Rope Walk Lane. Power Conditioning, Ryan Power. Strength, balance, body, and mind. True Hockey, take what's yours. Mugsy Jeans. I love me Mugsy Jeans. And of course, GS Construction out Edmonton Way, laying the groundwork for your community. Crown Cabinets, just because. I'll be back in just a couple of days with more Tales with TR.